Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be checking out Amerika Bomber, the German plan to bomb New York. Okay, I think this is about World War II. I think during that period that Hitler was thinking a lot of things and planning a lot of things. So one of my OG viewers told me to check this out on the comment section. So I'm going to check this out, World War II Amerika Bomber. Let's see what Germany were planning for the United States.
The United States, the arsenal of democracy, was largely immune to direct attack by the Axis powers. The Germans had run a successful U-boat campaign, codenamed Operation Drumbeat, off the US East Coast and Gulf of Mexico in 1942, but had been unable to attack the mainland. In fact, the only time Germany had assaulted US soil was at the tail end of World War I, when a German submarine had shelled the small town of Orleans in Massachusetts. Hitler was desperate to see New York in flames, to inflict material damage on America's premier city, as he was doing to London. But how?
Wow.
The Luftwaffe possessed no aircraft with the range to reach New York and return. One possibility was to refuel bombers.
I mean, looking at this map right now, I mean, the US is so fucking lucky. The US is so lucky. This is part of the reason why they're a superpower. This is the part of the reason. They are just so far away from enemies that are capable of doing something to them. They're just so far away. Canada can't do shit to the United States. Mexico, nothing. I mean, the people around them are basically puppets to the United States. I know Canadians do not want to hear this, but they really do not have any say when it comes to the United States. Let's just be real here. Maybe they are too peaceful. I don't know. But since I've been born, Canada has never been a country that I've looked at like, oh, this is some scary country. They could do some shit. No, I don't look at them that way. I'm sorry. So US has nothing to worry about in their border at all. They even had more issues with Cuba. I mean, seriously, during Fidel Castro's time. So this is crazy. Look at this map. First of all, you need ships. You need enough ships to be able, because the aircrafts are, at least that time, though I don't know about now, but that time, aircraft to fly from Germany to New York. I mean, I'm not sure we had that kind of capability at that point. That was too far. I mean, look at this. This is crazy.
No aircraft with the range to reach New York and return. One possibility was to refuel bombers part of the way across the Atlantic at the Portuguese Azores, and Portuguese dictator General Salazar had allowed German U-boats to refuel there. German aircraft manufacturers Heinkel, Junkers and Messerschmitt all designed aircraft for the mission to the US, all very large bombers. The distances involved were huge, a round trip of well over 7,000 miles. However, the designs proceeded on the assumption of using the Azores as a refueling point, reducing.
I mean, thinking about the fact that a lot of top machinery companies are German or have German origin, that shows you why Germany was so scary during this World War I, World War II period. I mean, you can't play with these guys, man. I mean, even the best kind of vehicles that we have in Nigeria or the generators that we have in Nigeria are German-made, not Japanese-made. The Japanese ones may be cheaper, but they don't have the durability, they don't have the effectiveness of the German machine. I mean, Germans, I think World War II really humbled them, though. But you have to look at most things that have been created. You have all these top automotive companies, German origin. Crazy. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Every time I look at a lot of things that Germany have created in the last 100 years, even the atomic bomb that the US used, a lot of the scientists there were of German Jew origin, from what I learned. So these Germans, man.
The round trip to about 6,400 miles from France. The winning design for the Amerika Bomber was the Junkers Ju-390. Two prototypes of this enormous long-range aircraft were built. The first, codenamed V1, made its maiden flight on the 20th of October 1943. 26 aircraft were ordered but never built. The second prototype, V2, was slightly longer. V1 was personally shown to Hitler on the 26th of November 1943. It made many test flights until November 1944, when it was stripped of parts. In April 1945, it was apparently destroyed to prevent capture by the US Army. V2 began test flights in September 1944. It was equipped with air-to-surface radar and 5 20mm cannon. The Ju-390 had 6 BMW engines with a crew of 10. Its wingspan was over 165 feet. As we will see shortly, the Ju-390 also had the fuel capacity and endurance to reach New York and return.
Okay.
A blow to the plan was struck in 1943 by the Portuguese dictator Salazar. He decided to allow the Allies to refuel aircraft and indeed base them in the Azores. But with an increased fuel load and a much reduced bomb load, the Junkers Ju-390 still had the legs to make a round trip to New York from the French Atlantic coast. Just. Let's examine some of the aircraft's stats to see whether it is indeed feasible. About 53,000 pounds of fuel were required to provide takeoff power and then cruise at 12,000 feet for the 32 hours a round-trip mission would take to New York. This was sufficient.
But thinking about this now, did they really need a round trip? I mean, I get it, maybe you want the aircraft to come back, but if you really had a goal, couldn't you just sacrifice that particular aircraft and the pilot? Seriously. Like, I mean, the pilot is probably a soldier, right? Couldn't you sacrifice them? If Hitler really wanted that, not a round trip, just a one-way trip, you know that as you are going, all you need to do is to achieve your goal. That's all you need to do. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes when I think about some of these war strategies that some of these people use, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I could have been a better war strategist. Seriously, like, I mean, you can just put a soldier that is, very, very sympathetic to the cause, who is ready to die. I mean, seriously, like, I don't know. Like, did you have to go through all that to try and get a way to make it a round trip? It makes no sense to me. Anyway, I don't know.
To permit a return flight with a 10,000 kilogram payload. It has been calculated that cruising at 232 knots, a Junkers 390 could theoretically fly 7,400 nautical miles. So the intriguing question remains, did the Luftwaffe attempt to fly to New York and back? The answer is not clear and highly disputed. The first such claim emerged in November 1955 in a story that a pair of Junkers 390s had made an extraordinary transatlantic flight to New York, including lingering over the city for 1 hour. Another intelligence report stated that a Ju-390 had been delivered to a Luftwaffe unit near Bordeaux in January 1944 and had made a 32-hour round-trip flight to within 12 miles north of New York City. Other intelligence reports based on POW interrogations made the same claims, including the claim that the crew of one aircraft had photographed Long Island. These claims were made by experienced Luftwaffe pilots, though they provided no evidence and they provided no photographs that they had allegedly taken. Albert Speer, Hitler's architect and armaments minister, claimed that a Junkers 390 made a top-secret trip to Japan before the end of the war, which was entirely possible. We will probably never know the truth regarding the Amerika Bomber. The fall of France pushed the Germans away from the Atlantic coast, meaning any proposed Amerika Bomber missions to New York were scrubbed. In the final analysis, it remains one of World War II's great what-ifs.
It's always very interesting when I look at these World War II videos a lot of the time. Sometimes I would feel like I would be a better war general than some of these people, but it's easy for me to sit down here in this my comfortable room, even if I'm in a third world country, and complain about some mistakes. It's not easy. I mean, when you're under pressure, you have subordinates asking you, what should we do next, what should we do? I mean it's not an easy thing to do. So I'm not sitting down here to judge. It's not easy. And a lot of times when I watch one of these videos, some people may think I'm a Nazi, because sometimes it's always very interesting for me to imagine how things would have went if the Nazis or the Germans did things a couple of things differently. And I'm not wishing that they did it, but I'm just saying, what if they did it I mean, like, what if they did this? What if they did this? What if they did this? I mean, that is a very, very interesting thing to think about, because that gives you a perspective of how the world is sometimes. That one or two decisions can shape the world. One or two decisions from one or two people can shape the world that we know. So, and it's something that most of us that live this 9 to 5 life, this daily average life, can't really understand that the decisions from one or two people, a couple of few decisions, can affect your life. So that is why it's always a very interesting thing to check out, to try and understand. And I really enjoyed this. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you are new, and hit the like button to get this video out to more people. I really appreciate it. See you on the next one. Peace.